The foundational people are crazy. Let's just start there. It is an act of desperation to call yourself anything other than what you are. Why are you always looking for to be called something else?
The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Welcome, my brothers and my sisters. How are you all doing this evening? I appreciate you all for being here with us during the last days of our glorified foundational Black American Month, Black History Month, the month that belongs to us, the month that is about us. Thank you all for being here with us. You can be anywhere else, but you're here where you're supposed to be, so I appreciate you. You're here with us. All right. Boy, and let me tell you something. Delineation is really beating them up. I'm talking about it's whooping them beyond all measure. They're not used to it. So what they're deciding to do is they're using this reverse psychology, and they're trying to shift the blame and say, actually, the real problem is you guys. You guys have been picking on us and beating us and abusing us. And now, instead of us finally holding the Tether class accountable, now it's them retaliating on us. I want us to understand this is the reverse psychology that we're doing, and we're learning these lessons to shut it down. Now, this clip is very, very dangerous, and let me tell you why it's dangerous, because this woman, the woman who just said that in the very beginning, the woman who just said that used to work in the Obama administration, okay? She used to work in the Obama administration. So this is what we're talking about when it comes to tethers in politics. This is why we're shutting all that down, because that dangerous statement right there, you can already tell her mentality. Imagine her working as a political strategist. Let me let you know who she is. Rakia Boyd.
Time in the Obama administration. What did your time in the Obama administration teach you about how power really works in America?
How long do we have?
We got time.
Don't we miss Obama? Some people were bothered because it took him an hour to get from one end of the hall to the next end. It didn't matter what you did. You could be mopping the floors. He was gonna stop and talk to you. And just that level of personhood taught me that it is possible to be a good human as a person in power.
How did you get into politics and how did you transition out? Tanika Boyd is a former political strategist who now tells stories through fashion, motherhood, and culture. From the policy rooms of Washington, D.C. to the streets of Brooklyn, Tanika has mastered the art of blending substance with style, proving that influence isn't about reach, it's about resonance.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, you know, this was a political strategist. This is what we're saying. These people are not just people on podcasts and we're just getting mad because people on podcasts are talking trash about us. We're talking about people who had influential positions among politics that determine resources and benefits and legislation and tangibles for everybody. Now, with this type of animosity and vitriol against foundational Black Americans, you can only imagine what she was doing under the Tether Obama administration. No wonder Obama liked her so much. No wonder they got along so well. They got along well. They got along well, didn't they? This is what we're talking about. Just want you to understand this is why we're talking about her, because nobody really knows her in the influencer thing. Nobody knows her, but she's relevant because this is what's in politics. This is why we're calling this stuff out, because there's a toxic anti-foundational Black American environment and stigma that exists all throughout the country, and we can't call it out. The only time we can say something slight is if the person is Anglo-Saxon. And if the person isn't an Anglo-Saxon, we can't say it because there are people of color too. And we're done with that, okay? Oh, this anti-FBA sentiment that exists among people, especially when it comes to immigrants, it exists strongly among them, needs to be called out, and it needs to be addressed, and people need to be held accountable. This is what we're doing here, all right? Now, let's get to it. Let's get to this, because there's some stuff we got to talk about. This not just this, y'all. Y'all buckle up. Please hit the like button. I kind of want to do it like this, to be honest. I prefer doing it like this. Y'all please hit that like button real quick.
We are a rich culture. We are a beautiful culture.
Cass.
I wanted to, because this was around obviously the whole Black Lives Matter movement,
Yeah.
George Floyd. What were your thoughts and reflections on it? And the reason why I want to get your perspective is with this podcast, we have so many people around the world who watch it. A lot of them are based in Africa. They don't really sometimes understand the systems that in America of racism and what that looks like. Could you help break it down for our audience? Like, what was that period like? What is the historical context? We do have time, but basically like educate our audience as to what's going on in America that they might not necessarily have insight to, especially because, you know, sometimes we do have the divisions between Africans and African Americans. So giving that context that enables them to understand what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of folks, especially when I'm on the continent, you know, they'll ask me in complimentary ways, like, "Oh, where are you from?" If I say America, they're like, "Oh, this one. She claims America, but her parents are from Nigeria. She doesn't want to tell me." I'm like, "No, my parents are from America. My grandparents, my great grandparents, 10 generations." And because of colonialism, right? There's a lack of historical understanding of African Americans, the ethnicity in America. And I would also say because of oppression in America and anti-African sentiment in America and xenophobia, there's a lack of understanding about what happens on the continent, right? To be fair.
Okay. See, this is what we call out. This is the type of behavior we call out. What are you lying for? See, where you're born is not your fault or a problem in and of itself. Let me be abundantly clear. Let me be 100% clear. Nobody, not a single person who has ever been born can control where they were born or who they were born by. Nobody can control that. That's not your fault, nor is it really a problem in and of itself. The behavior, let me be abundantly clear. The behavior, okay. My computer giving me updates. The behavior is what we're calling out. Why the fact that you're initially talking about you are Nigerian and people are calling you Nigerian because you are Nigerian, but you're saying, "Oh no, my parents have been here for 10 generations," when we know that's not true. Now you're going to go around calling yourself an African American, but you go to Nigeria, you're going to listen. She goes back and forth to Nigeria, because that's where her family is from. She's not a foundational Black American. The fact that you're lying and you're deceitful, that's the issue that we have, which is a characteristic that lets us know that nothing good can come out of this person. Nothing good comes out of liars. Listen, there's a lot of different people in the world, but we'll, boil it down to two different types of people in this world. Okay, there are people who solve problems, people who cause problems. There's a small little gray area of people who don't do anything. Okay, but those are the main two people who either solve problems or people who cause problems. One of the biggest characteristics of a person who's not solving problems, not in the middle, but actually causing the issue, are liars. Liars are not problem solvers. Liars don't get anything done, at least for the collective. They might for themselves, but they don't get anything done for the collective, for the benefit of other people. That's not what liars do. Liars are, by definition and by default, self-interested people who do things only for their self-interest. So that when you put yourself in the liar category, you're automatically placing yourself in the problem-causing people category. And this is what we call out. All right, let's get back to it. Because there's other stuff we got to talk about. We got to get this done.
But African Americans are, they came to the United States in the 16, 17, 1800s via slavery, right? They snatched us from West Africa and took us to the Americas, all across the Americas. But the Black American population is really unique in that we were proximate to our white enslavers. Whereas in the Caribbean, Jamaica, Brazil is a little bit closer, but in the Caribbean, they weren't, right? Like they were 90% of the population because the white people couldn't survive in Jamaica.
The climate, yeah.
Right, the climate. But we were always proximate to our enslavers. And, after slavery, there was Jim Crow, which was segregation. They drank at this water fountain. We drank at that water fountain. We went to these schools. They went to that schools. Very similar to South African apartheid. Very, very similar to South African apartheid. But Black Americans, like South Africans, fought really hard to get out of it, right? Like some would say violently. Martin Luther King came along. It was peacefully, but fight for everything. Access to voting, the 1965 Voting Rights Act, access to education, not just to be integrated into schools with white people, but for funding and also to be able to access college. And so what you have in America, you very rarely you find a Black American with a parent and a grandparent who went to college because it wasn't that long ago. And so what we have in our current, and I'm being very short, but what we have in our current context is so much of the oppression exists now in systemic discrimination. Not so much as cosmetic, though that cosmetic exists, right? We have more colorism cosmetically. They will elevate Black people.
Now, I want you to understand. Let me just pause this real quick. We're going to pause this real quick. And we're going to talk about, do you hear how often she uses the we, and us as Black American and we this? If it's so we, and you've been here for 10 generations, let's say that, can you explain this? I'm sorry, y'all. I had to pause it because all of the we stuff keeps bothering me. Okay. This comes from Essence, and we already know what's going on with Essence. We shut that down last year. But look at this. Inside Lego's Fashion Week with luxury fashion influencer Tanika Boyd. Okay, so this isn't you inside the Legos Fashion Week where they're talking about African fashion, luxury fashion, not just Africa, Nigeria in specific. This isn't you, huh? All of the we, and us as us, we had to fight back and we had to drink from different water fountains and we this and we this. Okay. See, that is the definition of cosplaying. Okay, you're pretending to be something that you are not. You're not even being honest about being Nigerian before you start going off. Oh, we got a rich culture and we got this, and we as African Americans. Do you understand why we're retiring from that term? Because people are being able to latch onto it who are not from our lineage. These are foreigners and outsiders from our lineage. Now, as much as I don't like Essence, I'm glad that they're one of the people who exposed that. She didn't think that would catch up to her. Okay, just so you know, all of the we stuff going forward, just know she's Nigerian. Just know that. She's speaking French.
But a lot of times it's lighter skinned Black people who are approximate to whiteness, all of these things, specifically women. But it's more systemic. Like, you have to have a PhD in order to get the same job as a white man who has a high school degree, or, you have to have 10 years worth of work experience. So it's more systemic.
Now she's talking, and this is something I don't like either. This other Tether dude is going to sit up there and ask another Tether to explain American racism. And by definition, that is putting her in a position where she is now the spokesman for our history, spokesman for our lineage, spokesman for our culture. I don't like that. I don't like that. No, you don't get to sit up there and be all like, yeah, and we had to do this, and you have to understand we had to drink from different water fountains, and we had to do that. That's not been your heritage. That's not been your history. That is not a part of your ancestry. We don't go to Nigeria and talk to Nigerian people and try to break it down, their history to them. We don't need nobody sitting up there not from our lineage explaining what our lineage is. Even if it's to Africa, we don't need you doing that. Don't do that. No. All of that we stuff and all, I'm going to skip past that, but I want you to understand this is what she's doing. No wonder she worked so well with the Obama administration. Going to fast forward a couple minutes.
Right. It's like 33 million people. Right. And it's huge. And 10% are also of West African, like one of their parents or both of their parents are immigrated from West Africa. And you have these two sides converging, the police who are violent and then the people who protest. And so you have this public display or primary determinant of who you are. A lot of times we see class.
Yeah.
And we have that, but it's not as strong as race. Like, we will get rid of you if you decide you become a rich black person, but you don't want to be black, and now you're Blasian, now you're biracial, and you gotta go. Now we don't like you. And so black is that is your leading identity, almost always. Even as a woman, being black is your leading identity. Even if you're gay, being black is your leading identity. So it's almost like this duty, and people think we had a meeting or something. They're like, did they have a meeting? Why did they all come out by solidarity for Black Americans around the Black Lives Matter movement in the United States, and also motivated by INSARS in Nigeria? Because it was very similar. You had people, you had kidnappings in Chicago from police departments, you had violence, you had people being extorted, you have all of these similarities. And I just think it was a beautiful display, if I may, of the African diaspora and like how we continue to come together. We saw this in the 90s with Black Americans and South Africans. We saw this in the 70s with Ghanaians when they were leading the Pan-African movement. We saw this in the 60s with Jamaicans and Ethiopians. So I like to believe that while we nitpick,
when were the Ghanaians leading the Pan-African movement? Is she talking about the Return to Africa thing that wound up being a little money finesse, a little money grab? When were they leading okay, all right. I don't know when they were leading the Pan-African movement. I don't.
When you speak plainly to people, they will understand.
Yeah.
They will understand.
The thing too that I hope this particular recording helps dispel, because there's this whole thing around like foundationally Black Americans, FBAs, this whole thing. And for me, it's like there's a level of ignorance in it, because when you go back and look into the history, you're talking about Black Panther Party. They had membership across the globe. You're talking about they were going as places as far as China. They had African allies as well. So this whole narrative where it makes it seem like we're in competition with each other is something that I would love for us to dispel. I want to get your thoughts on that.
The foundational people are crazy.
Boy, before she gets to that, listen. The fact that, and this is what we need when it comes to the non-FBAs who actually do have a solid track record in being a writer. You understand that Tethers are using you guys and hanging on to your coattails. Do y'all get that? They're hanging on to your coattails. They're using and exploiting the fact that there were a couple of solid people throughout pretty much history. All right. It wasn't no mass movement where a bunch of them came here. There was some sporadically here and there in the Black Panther Party and the Civil Rights Movement, a little bit before, a little bit here. And we give credit where credit is due. But you're not going to sit here and make it seem as if that represents what you guys are doing today. You're not going to do that, because you guys are not doing that today. All of the Tether class are coming here being destructive and detrimental to the progress of the group. So you're not going to be all like, hold on, but we got to talk about Dr. Ben, though. No, we don't. You're not going to be able to use his honor or the honors of some actual solid writers, and you're not going to be able to hide behind them and avoid accountability. Because first off, that's insulting to our intelligence. Like, we can't see what you're doing. And second off, that's insulting and disrespectful to them. And I ain't going to let you do that. So you cherry picking them. What are you doing today? Because I can tell you what we're doing today. I can show you today what we're doing. We're not just talking about Dr. King and Malcolm X and Rosa Parks and Harriet Tubman and all of them. We're not just talking about that. There are actual movements going on, existing today, led by foundational Black American brothers and sisters that are getting things done. This is why in the next census, you will have more delineation. Not all the way it needs to be. Okay, there's improvement that needs to be made. However, you still have that. You still have the reparations conversation being widespread nationwide, all over the country. You have politicians who are clawing for any type of Black vote because the Democratic Party is falling and burning. All right. You have us calling stuff out. You got police who are now going to jail for stuff. You can look at I forget his name. I think it was Robert something. The officer who unalived Sonia Massey. That's because of us. That's because of the environment that we changed. We had changed that environment back during Obama's time, and she was there. Back during Obama's time, police were able, race soldiers were able to go around lynching and executing as they please. Now they can't do so, at least not on camera. I'm not saying they don't do it, but at least they ain't gonna be able to do it on camera and then get paid leave. They got to be a lot more sneaky now, because we're starting to catch them now. We're starting to become our own private investigators and holding them accountable. So we have and are changing the environment still. So we have just carried on. We've picked the baton up from our ancestors, okay? The same baton that Martin had and Malcolm had was the same baton that Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner had, was the same baton that they had before, generations before. They just pass it down. That assignment may be different, it may be, but we're dealing with a different assignment, but it's the same baton, it's the same torch that we're carrying to the finish line. The Tether class abandoned the torch. They've abandoned the mission and left the field. They're not even on the field no more. We're still running laps around the field, waiting to get to first place. They're off the field on the benches, okay, chilling, eating bushmeat. I know they get triggered by bushmeat and dirt cookies. I know they do, but they're chilling, eating that. We still on the field, so there's no comparison here. There's no comparison. But now, the foundation. What'd she say? The foundation black people are crazy or something? What'd she say?
It's something that I would love for us to dispel. I want to get your thoughts on that.
The foundational people are crazy. Let's just start there. It is an act of desperation to call yourself anything other than what you are. Why are you always looking for?
Then why are you calling yourself an African American or a Black American? It's an act of desperation to call yourself anything other than what you are. Why are you not calling yourself Nigerian then? First off, the whole thing was about an hour. I've only played about 10 minutes, and you've been you've been making it seem like you're a foundational Black American. You've been making it seem like your ancestors picked cotton in this land, on this land. And now you want to sit up there and say that us actually acknowledging who we are is an act of desperation while you trying to pretend to be us.
To be called something else. We are a rich culture. We are a beautiful culture. And when you have a high cultural self-esteem, then you go anywhere in the world, and it is not reductive to be in proximity to anyone else. I never feel small in Nigeria. When I leave Nigeria, I even feel more full. You know what I'm saying? Because I can see so many similarities. I can embrace the.
You see so many similarities because that's where you from. You see so many similarities because that's where you're from. She had a whole Nigerian wedding. Y'all saw that picture before. That's where you from. I see so many similarities. What, to your house? To your grandma's house? To your uncle's house? You see so many similarities. That's because your cousin lives there. That's why you see so many Don't play with us. We're not dumb. We're not stupid. Talk about I feel richer. Yeah, that's because that's where you belong.
Nigerian national culture, but also all the ethnicities within it, for its each individual beauty. It makes me feel fuller. Yeah. Do you understand? Yeah. And when you have that high, just like cultural self-esteem, right? It just makes it so much easier. So I don't subscribe to this whole foundational Black American, the Hotep, the Sulan, the flag, all this. What's wrong with being African American? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to take the African out of it because you're anti-African, because you're xenophobic. So there has to be some element of it. Now, I will say this, in my personal life.
No. And all of this anti-African, all of this anti-African stuff, right? Excuse me. This anti-African talk, right? That is untrue. That is completely untrue, right? Y'all don't do that, and y'all never say that. This whole anti-African, why are you taking African out? Why are we the only ones? I want you to honestly think about this. Why are we, the only people obligated to put African in what we are. Not out of no hate for Africa, but let's put everything on a playing field and make everything fair among everything. We're the only people who are obligated to put African in anything. Jamaicans aren't, Haitians aren't, nobody in the Caribbean is, Black Brits aren't made to put African in anything, Cubans aren't, nothing. Nobody is made to put African in anything. We're the only people who have to say, well, you know what? Africa, like this is some type of thing we got to worship. No, we're American. We are. We built America. We're American. Y'all built Nigeria. Y'all Nigerian. Y'all built Jamaica. You're Jamaican. All of this stuff. But it's this gaslighting because they want us to have this hive mind and make it seem like, you know how in those cartoons where you have like the aliens worshiping the mothership or something like that? That's what they want us to have. They want us to have this hive mind where like the aliens are worshiping the queen mothership or something like that. And that thing is supposed to be Africa. Oh, we are African. We are lost African. We will return to Africa. No, we're not doing that. You are not even brave enough, courageous enough to admit that's where you're really from. You're sitting up here lying so you can get some type of credibility because we're the people who have credibility here. You're lying and pretending to be one of us and then speaking bad on us. And I want you to understand all of this. I mean, this BS, but all of this is detrimental because she was just involved in the Obama administration. Don't just look at Obama. Look at all of the people he picked in his administration to work with. Don't just look at him. Everybody he selected. And you can see the anti-Black American sentiment from all of them. No wonder we didn't get anything. No wonder we were sitting up there subjugated and oppressed with impunity under his administration. Look at him and then all of his minions that he decided to work with.
I have almost only seen this online. I'm not saying it doesn't exist because as a New Yorker, I obviously know it exists. I will say I do think it is phasing out with the globalization of like so many cultural elements with Afro beats, with fashion. Almost always, there have almost always been people who have immigrated from the continent of Africa to the United States, legal immigration. Right, almost at the end of when we were transitioning from being African to African American, a distinct culture with elements of the entire West African culture experience. Then you had immigration. And like you said, always in the civil rights movement, not just from West Africa, East Africa, South Africa, even North Africa, also parts of the Caribbean, South America, a part of being African American, how I grew up, was always Pan-African. Yeah. That was always the experience. That was the beauty of being African American.
Y'all, she said FBA is phasing out because of Afro beats. FBA is phasing out because of Afro beats. That's what she said? Really? Okay. Okay. All right. FBA is phasing out because of Afro beats. Okay. Y'all, let me tell you what's phasing out. Let me show you this. Just real quick. We're going to see who phasing out. You can ask Burna Boy, Tyler, all of them. You can ask Fat Joe, all of them who's phasing out. Wasn't Fat Joe supposed to host the BET Awards? What happened to that? What happened to Fat Joe hosting the BET Awards? Phasing out, please. Okay. Essence Fest organizers under fire after unpaid $450,000 from 2025 event. Yeah, Essence Fest is phasing out. That's what's phasing out. And that was just in New Orleans. Shout out to New Orleans, though. Shout out to New Orleans. I love New Orleans. Rich foundational Black American culture. I love it. I was just at not Essence Fest. I was just at Mardi Gras. Shout out to New Orleans. But all of this is phasing out because of Afro beats. What you really mean is that you feel like and you hope that we're being replaced. That's what she means. All of this cultural esteem that we have is being overshadowed by Africa. That's what they wanted to do with Essence Fest. That's what they wanted to do with Essence Fest. They wanted to have foundational Black American culture be the root, be the bait, and then slowly but surely we get pushed out the room and then overshadowed and replaced with Africa, in particular Nigeria. That's what she wanted. And that's what she's saying. She is glad that she thinks is happening. It's not happening, but she thinks it's happening.
Was that it was a global and a Pan-African experience. And so this new stuff, I don't know nothing about
stuff.
Yeah, see, I don't subscribe to that. I just ignore it, I block, and I move on.
You protect your peace.
Yeah, I protect my peace. And they come for me too.
What would you
They
say?
say I'm African, pick me.
African pick me.
Well, no, you're just an African. You're an African. You're a continental African. It's not no African pick me. You're not no Pan-African. You're really not. You are an African. And okay.
God has picked me. God has picked me. What?
It's crazy.
I think I don't know. I think, it's like the white boys in the basements and then they get mad and they go to the gun store and now we can't go to the grocery store because they want to shoot it up. I think this is the equivalent.
Yeah.
I think
that is very dangerous. Let me play that back for y'all.
they're on.
Crazy.
I think I don't know. I think, it's like the white boys in the basements and then they get mad and they go to the gun store and now we can't go to the grocery store because they want to shoot it up. I think this is the equivalent.
Yeah.
I think they're online and they're searching for meaning and there's a lack of education.
Yeah.
See me, I
That is a very, very dangerous statement she just made. And I want us to understand what makes this so much more dangerous is because she used to work in politics, being a political strategist, which means even if she's not in politics right now, she still is very connected to politics, to politicians. She's still very connected to that. Okay. She still knows people who still works there. Just because you think because she doesn't work there, that means all of her connects, all of her relationships just disappeared. No, she still knows people that work there. She still knows people that sign things and vote on things and write things out and press. This is what she is. And she is trying to put the jacket of terrorist. That's terrorism, which is something we've not done. We don't even condone on this channel. We don't even condone violence. Okay, we don't condone any type of violence, crime, hate, or anything like that. I would say self-defense, but I don't think self-defense is violence. I think self-defense is a necessary reaction. Whatever self-defense means at the time that is necessary, that's what self-defense is. But condoning violence, I wouldn't even put those in the same category. We don't ever do that. We don't ever do that. Now, you had a woman not long ago, I think she was from Senegal, talking about she's going to put a bomb on her chest and blow everybody up. She's going to put a bomb on her chest and blow foundational Black Americans up. And yet you're sitting up there putting the jacket of like a Dylan Roof or a Ryan Palmetto on us. We're the crazy white boys in the basement ready to take an AK-47 and go to the grocery store. We have never done anything to you all like that. We don't have a history of doing that to any group of people, despite other groups of people coming in sabotaging, other groups of people coming in disrespecting, other groups of people coming in infiltrating the community, tethering, cosplaying like she is. Yet we still have honorability. Oh, she's from Sierra Leone. Okay. Yep. All right. I want you to understand that's how dangerous this is. Let me get to the super chats real quick. Okay. BB says, keep spreading the word about FBA. I will indeed. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Glad they canceled Essence Fest. I'm from Monroe, Atlanta. Okay. Monroe, Atlanta. Hey, look. They're going to learn. They're going to learn the hard way. See, the loss of money, people learn quick. People learn very quick with that. So I'm glad. Oh, yeah, I'm very glad. Dakota Jenkins, he says, they call us Akata. Oh, of course, Akata to them is not, they never bring that up. They never say it's 50. They never say they did anything wrong. Let them tell it. They call them Akata, Yankee, etc. They call us Akata, Yankee, etc. Yet, we don't have a derogatory term for them. Who is the FBA version of Candace Owens or Myron Gaines? I'll wait. We don't have one. We don't do that. If we did, I'm going to be honest with you. Despite all of this, if there was a foundational Black American version of Myron Gaines who went to Kenya or Ghana or anything like, or anywhere like that, and was out there messing up their politics, messing up their reparations, calling them low IQ, disrespecting them, disrespecting the women, the children, all of that, we would call that out, because we would know that that does not reflect our culture, and that does not reflect our cultural values. And that is not the behavior that is indicative among foundational Black Americans. So if there was, there isn't, but if there was somebody who attempted to be the FBA version of Myron Gaines, they wouldn't even have to worry about it, because we would be calling that out. We would be all like, hey man, don't listen to him. We disown him. He doesn't represent us. He's not like us. He's some type of CIA agent or something like that. That's not our cultural values. We don't do that. But there isn't even that. We don't even have to do that, even though that would be our cultural response. We don't even have to go that far, because we don't do that. We check our own well before they know better than to do that. We know better than to go in there disrespecting them, doing that. Okay, we already know better. Yet they don't want to call them out. Now, speaking of calling people out, earlier this week, we were talking about Dr. Umar, and Flacco had something to say about it. If I'm not mistaken, I'm like 99% sure Flacco is Nigerian. I know he's non-FBA, he's a tether, but I'm very sure he's Nigerian, though. I'm very sure of that. Okay. It's like a 0.1% chance I'm very, very sure of that. But he said something. He had a response. Oh yeah, he is Nigerian. Okay, he is. I was like 99% sure, but I didn't want people to be like, actually, no, he's from Ghana. Like, so. But he had a response. He's Liberian. Okay, well, anyway, he's not FBA. That's all that matters. But listen to his response.
One on Black Twitter today, more specifically the FBA section of Black Twitter. And it's all because of this particular podcast clip that's going viral.
The growing understanding of a movement called FBA.
Okay.
Pan-Africanism and FBA. Mm-hmm. How do they contrast or complement one another?
Okay.
Umar Johnson is a Pan-African. As a Pan-African, you don't believe in delineation. That's the difference between the two. So Umar Johnson obviously isn't a fan of FBA nor ADOS.
Nobody compares to Pan-Africanism. If you want to go achievement for achievement, you can put all them together. You don't touch us. Okay. And I say that respectfully, but it's the truth. Okay. ADOS FBA, respectfully, I'm going to go with both groups because they represent basically the same thing, but there are differences, right? So ADOS,
which is a descendant of slavery.
No, they're first. FBA comes later.
Okay.
Okay, but they both exist. FBA is more popular, right?
Okay.
ADOS FBA. I don't have a problem with the American African people seeing the need to make it clear to other branches of the global African family that when you come here, you need to be clear that we built the house and rolled out the carpet for you. Be respectful in my home the same way you would want for me to be respectful in your home.
I agree with the statement 100%. Umar Johnson is spitting 100%. Delineation started with immigrants coming over here and being disrespectful, not the other way around. Black Americans, for the most part, pushed in a civil rights bill for immigrants to come over here. But when some immigrants came over here, a small percentage of them became like anti-Black Americans. They said F the unity, right? They began to disparage them, call them names, stick their nose up at them, was condescending, joined white supremacy, saying things like, y'all don't got any culture, y'all are lazy. So it's only so long a group of people could shit on you before you say, bro, I don't want to be associated with these people. Now, it was a small percentage of immigrants doing this, but nonetheless, though, they were the loud minority, right? So when a loud minority is taking up a narrative, the narrative is assigned to the entire group. Same with FBA currently, right? Prosperity can exist without oppression. Delineation can exist without hate. So when you have a small percentage of FBA, they're on Twitter, they're on YouTube, They're calling immigrants racial slurs. They're taking the position of agents of chaos.
So the concept.
Y'all see that? Y'all see that? Now, because we already did the thing with Umar, I'm gonna like when he brings up Umar's clips, I'm gonna just kind of fast forward a little bit because I want you to hear what Flacco has to say. Okay. First off, he says small, and notice how that they dodge accountability by always trying to belittle. Oh, it's just small group of people, the small, tiny group of people over in the corner that nobody knows. No. Because it doesn't have to be everybody. Let's talk about police violence, for example, where I'm going to use this analogy. Most police are not out here shooting black people in the back. Most police don't do that. I think we all know that. Most police don't do that. However, the few police that do that, there's always their partner in the car who doesn't say anything, doesn't stop them, doesn't do anything, doesn't intervene. The police who pulled the trigger is guilty, and the police who sat in the car and watched it is also guilty. That's what we're saying. The police who pulled the trigger is guilty, and the police who hit the body cam is also guilty. The police who pulled the trigger is guilty, and the sheriff who didn't punish him and charge him is also guilty. This is what we're talking about. It's not all of them that's pulling the trigger, but all of them are in on it. All of them are silent. All of them protecting that, what they call thin blue line. That's what we're talking about. So when you talk about, oh, it's a small percentage, you're trying to minimize the damage that is being done. It's very significant damage that is being done because there's an element of protection that they have within their community. The same way with the police. It doesn't take all of them to pull the trigger, but if all of them are sitting up there protecting them and don't want to say anything and wants to get on camera and be all like, police do have a very dangerous job, and it's only split seconds that you have to make before you make a decision that could either save your life or end your life. So it's very difficult. There's a lot of nuance, and we got to investigate, and they're dragging their feet, and they don't know what to do and what not to do. Also, the judges, the ones who are like, hey, well, you know what? My uncle was a cop, so I understand. The prosecution who doesn't really want to prosecute. All of them, the entire environment. This is what we're talking about when it comes to the police. Not just the Derek Chauvins, okay, of the world. Not just the Philando Castiles and all of that. Not just that. Not just them. I'm talking about everybody, the entire environment. I'm talking about the people who saw it. Not just, remember Derek Chauvin, when he was on George Floyd's neck, he had two other officers on his back. And then he had one officer standing guard. All of them are guilty. They weren't the ones who actually did it. I mean, the other two kind of helped, but they weren't the ones who actually took his life. But all four of them are guilty. All four of them. This is what we're talking about. So don't talk about, oh, it's a small little thing. No, this is a very systemic issue because it exists within the culture to protect that immigrant line, to protect them no matter what, which means not calling them out when they need to be called out, which means turning a blind eye. Okay? Even if you disagree, turn a blind eye. That's the same way police do. Well, I wouldn't have did it, but I'm not going to say anything. That's the same way police do. So we're going to move forward because he keeps playing the Umar thing, but we already did a pretty thorough breakdown of the Umar thing. So we're going to kind of fast forward just a tad bit. Okay.
Someone who looks like me just because they came from another place. When the white man who's responsible for my hell here, I'm never giving him half that energy.
I'll be a fool to sit here and say that the racist and xenophobic people that we see on YouTube and Twitter represent all of FBA or even a majority of them. They just don't, right? The majority of FBA aren't hateful. However, there is a loud minority that is. And that loud minority creates the most resistance for the group because most immigrants love Black Americans. Most immigrants don't see ourselves as any different. Most immigrants aren't racist, right? Most people aren't racist. Just like most FBAs are good people, most immigrants are good people. but the loud minorities on both sides make it impossible. Like when you have people who are on Twitter, who are on YouTube, calling immigrants racial slurs like tether, yo, that reflects poorly on the entire group. Now, those immigrants probably don't really have nice feelings towards the name FBA, because when they go on Twitter, it's only FBA is calling them tethers, right? And calling them racial slurs.
And then on top,
Okay, do you see that? Tether is a category. It's not a slur. Slurs are things that you call specific demographics, mainly racial or ethnic demographics of people. Okay, but slurs can be other things as well too. Okay, I'm not going to sit up here and name all of the slurs. There's slurs for pretty much every different demographic of people: women, different ethnic groups, racial groups, people with disabilities, LGBT, all of that. There's slurs for pretty much everybody. Okay, slurs are what is a bigoted way, is a bigoted term that stereotypes and demeans and dehumanizes the entire group, and you're calling them this because of their identity among that group. All right, that's what a slur is. Now, you calling somebody out for their individualistic behavior is not a slur. You can't call nobody like if I called somebody stupid is not a slur. Stupid is not a slur. Idiot is not a slur. A dumbass is not a slur. These are not, they might be offensive. They might be insults. They are insults. They're not a slur. Okay, let's understand the difference. When we say the word tether, that's not a slur. Tethers are not a slur, because you only get called that if you're in the tether class of immigrants, and you only get in the tether class of immigrants based off of your individual behavior, not the behavior of your parents, not the behavior of all of the other people within whatever immigrant group you've come from, because of your individual behavior, which Flacco is conveying right now. He's conveying right now by trying to belittle the harm that tethers are doing, and then he's trying to maximize and embellish all of the attacks that you feel foundational Black Americans are doing. It makes the group look bad by calling them a tether. No. He's saying it's racist. Racist? We're racist? Racist. He's saying it's racist and hateful, and it holds us back. And he doesn't want to be called a tether because he doesn't want to be called out for his behavior. Now, mind you, if tether is a slur, Sambo is a slur. If Sambo is a slur, Uncle Tom, sellout, coon, all of these things, they're slurs. But nobody says Sambo is a slur. Nobody says Sambo. Nobody says a sellout. Nobody says tap dancing. Nobody says buck broken. Nobody says a coon. Nobody says any of these things are slurs. Why? Because these things can be applicable to foundational Black Americans too. Because we do got foundational Black Americans who, because it's just a lineage, who are Sambos and who are coons. So they don't mind that. They don't mind insults that can be spread to everybody. They don't mind that. It doesn't matter if it's offensive or not. They don't mind that. But if it's an insult that is particular for them, then it's a slur. And now it's hateful. When it's the same thing. No, we're not doing that. No. It's not a slur. And you're doing that because they're trying to create this narrative that foundational Black Americans, we have this hate group that exists within the movement.
Of that, it's
energy for white who were calling for a boy.
Let me take it back.
Dr. Umar Johnson is correct when he says they don't have that same energy for white folks. We experienced it firsthand, man. You had YouTubers like Willie D and others who were calling for a boycott on all African businesses because a lady had a bad experience at an African braiding shop. There was a literal call to boycott everything. How do you logically justify that? It doesn't make sense at all whatsoever, man. Right? Because this energy is not applied to other groups of people, right? If you have a bad experience at a Hispanic business, there's not a call to boycott all Hispanic businesses. If you had a bad experience at a white business, there's not a call to boycott all white businesses, right? But you literally have them coming online and pushing this. And I'm like, hold on. how do you like justify? Like, how is that right? That because somebody had a bad experience at one African business, you're now saying boycott all businesses. You're now saying affect a mom and pop shop who's trying to feed a family and serve food like at the corner of their neighborhood. Now boycott them too, hurt their pockets. And they have no idea what a diaspora war is. They treat everybody the same. It's not right and it's not cool. These people are racist. But it's important that we acknowledge that it's a small minority. So far, I've agreed with Umar Johnson, but here's where Umar loses me, okay? So Umar then transitions on the conversation of reparations and resources. And this is where
before we get to that, all of that, we don't keep the same energy. Hold on. That's not true at all. We the only ones who do have energy for anybody else. Look at this. Just gonna show you this right now. Just gonna show you this real quick. We the only ones who do keep energy for anybody. Oh, y'all only boycott Africans. Ask Target about that. Target, do y'all understand that Target had to, this month, this is the 100th Black History Month, 100 year anniversary of Black History Month. Target had to change their CEO. They had to quite literally change their CEO because the boycott was that bad. The boycott was that bad. They literally had to throw the people under the bus. They had to throw people under the bus because the boycott was that bad. All right. We don't keep this energy for anybody else. We're the only people anybody is worried about. We're the only people anybody is worried about. We do keep this energy with everybody else. Y'all just want an exception. That's what it is. And when y'all get some of the smoke that you deserve, they're not saying they don't deserve it. Keep that in mind. They're not saying they don't deserve the smoke. They're just saying, why are we the only people getting the smoke? Don't worry about nobody else. We got everybody else. Don't worry about nobody else. You getting the smoke that you deserve. They're not even saying they don't deserve it. They're just saying, give it to everybody else too. No. Okay. We got all this smoke for them. Let's talk about the boycott. When the boycott started, that's because of, which is interesting, the Essence Fest, right? And how the Essence Fest was removing foundational Black American culture out and then replacing that with Nigerian culture. They already publicized this. They already said that was their agenda. That was their MO. That's what they were going to do. And we said that was disrespectful. We said, y'all need to keep Essence Fest the way y'all wanted it. It was a bunch of them online saying, it's ours now. What you gonna do about it? It don't belong to you no more. It was a lot of them bragging about the boycott, daring the boycott on. Let's do a little reminder. And I'm telling you right now, that boycott hurt them. That boycott really hurt them, y'all. It really did. He's sitting up there talking about the boycott like the boycott is a horror story or something. He's talking about the boycott like it was like, he was like, y'all really destroyed people's lives. They dared us to boycott them. They was daring us to boycott them. Come on. We ain't gonna lie about it.
The videos where they were like, they're gonna boycott Africans in August. Can y'all do it now? Like me, if I was so passionate about something, I would never wait till the next month. Do it now. What's holding you? Do it now.
Okay. Remember that? Come on.
In African salons, take notes, because I took a couple and I want y'all to listen. If you're going to start boycotting African salons, listen up. If you can't name more than 10 African countries and their languages, this message is for you. No more henna, no more iPhone. Fulani and Senegalese braids, no more. Prom dresses, prom 2025, prom 2020. No more Nigerian, no more African dresses. I don't want to see it. No African sponge, no black soap, no shea butter. None of that. No more waist beads. I want waist beads. No more. Don't listen to Sade. Don't listen to no Afro beats. Listen to no I'm a piano. Don't claim Obama. Obama is Kenyan. Stop dating our man. No more twerking. FBA, fear of being African. It's real, yeah.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Every day she talking about Africa.
You go to Africa, you eat a bowl of money. You come
Bro,
back.
I'm sorry, excuse me. I don't even call you bro. My fault. I'm getting comfortable, but you saw they was doing on TikTok. They was gonna what is it?
Boycott,
African hair salon.
No, did you see? Because they said that the Essence Festival was all African, but they failed to realize the Essence Festival owned by Liberian.
Really?
Oh yes, Richelieu is a Liberian.
Okay.
Yes, he's the one that owned Shea Butter. He was the one that showed Shea Moisture.
Okay.
Yeah, Richelieu used to sell that stuff for his grandma.
That'd be my problem with
at the stuff. So I don't know what make it so African now. You know, because they were late. That's what they're trying to say. They had less people show up. Huh? Talking about is African people have taken over. So they got this whole thing on Facebook and Instagram about separation. You know, we're one people. Now they're coming to bring us together. We should end the separation. We should end the something.
No, but I know who I am, so I have to still be proud of who I am.
I'm like, why were you guys? I mean, it was a big thing. People are like, oh, it's all African now. They're taking the culture away from us.
Okay.
It was an African American thing. Now it's an African thing.
Africans and African American. Grow up.
They need to stop that. I think the thing about it, we're not the ones separating.
No.
Right? People are separating. What makes what happened at Essence an African thing?
It's the lack of, and I hate saying it, and I'm gonna sound
Education?
so that one too. Is the lack of their knowledge of them knowing their actual ethnicity. If
No, they're Indian, ma.
Show's over.
Native American.
Yeah.
That boycott stuff was crazy.
Yes,
though.
it's a big thing going on.
How could you?
All that. So yeah, y'all, the boycott is y'all smoke. I want you guys to understand something. Back when everybody was talking about the Essence Fest, I just kept seeing Africans, particularly, then Caribbeans, but Africans mainly, talk about y'all talking about a boycott. I dare you to do a boycott. They were daring us, and that's just a few clips. We can go all night long. We already did a few live streams last year about it. We can go all night long. They were daring us to do a boycott. Look, don't dare me. Don't test me. Don't test me. Don't call me out. Don't call my bluff. It was one single woman who said braiding shops specifically because they are known to be very disrespectful and overcharge Black American women. They're known for that. That's a thing that they're known for. They're known for not wanting to give refunds. Oh, man. They're known for, first off, just the immigrants in general. They known for hating refunds. They can't stand the damn refund. They can't stand that. They known for being disrespectful. They known for fighting. We've had situations where you had sisters in there fighting. So she said a boycott for their braiding shops. You had all of them jump up and talk about, I dare you. I ain't gonna boycott. Y'all, I dare. Do it now. Do it right now. Do it right now. Okay, all right. Okay, don't threaten me with a good time. That's all I'm saying. Don't threaten me with a good time now. Now we boycotting them, and how you know it's effective, because a year later they all like, and they boycotted us, and it was so bad, and that was so hateful. We was just trying to eat, and I don't know why y'all do that to us. That's how you know it worked. That's how, because they wouldn't be complaining about it if it didn't work. If the boycott didn't teach them a lesson, if that wasn't belt to ass economically for them, they wouldn't even be bringing it up. They'd be bragging like, y'all thought y'all was going boycott, see how that didn't work. All that wolfing they ain't doing no more, huh? They ain't all that wolfing, all that bragging, all that I got this and I pulled myself up with my bootstraps and my family came over here with $5 and we barely spoke the language and we got this big house. Why can't y'all do all that stuff? That pipe down, didn't it? Did that pipe down. We said, hey, you got a little bit too much dip on your chip over there. They said, hey, I got it like that. We said, you do? They said, yeah. I said, okay. Now we say, you got it like that? They say, no, we don't got it like that no more. Yeah, okay, yeah. A little bit of that belt to ash, and then you pipe down. Now when we tell you be quiet, now you a little bit more quiet now. Yeah, Oh, they got horror stories about that boycott. Man, that boycott ate them up. Now y'all watch your mouth next time. Now y'all know.
Fully understand why there's backlash for this interview, because Umar Johnson is dead wrong in what he's about to say.
Don't have an issue with the concept. I take issue with the strategies. And
what about if someone is saying that, all right, we look at anyone that is putting in our place and getting access to resources that belong to us, because they built their core wealth off coerced labor from our people. But you can come in as an African, as a quote unquote immigrant, and get certain access to things that maybe the foundational Black Americans, what they call themselves, believe that, that's our stuff. And so I don't look at the African any different than I look at any other, ethnic group that comes over and tries to take that place.
If that's the case, where is your campaign against the Latinos? Because I don't see it. Where's your campaign against the Caucasian immigrants? I don't see it. Where's your campaign against the South Asian and North Asian immigrants? I don't see
But
it.
see, what I think fragmented everything is the reparation talk. And so I think the reparation talk, a lot of the foundational, and I'm, I could be speaking out of school, but my limited understanding of it is, I think that they believe.
Let me just say this too. When it comes to having especially if you're going to have a debate with Umar, and Umar has historically not been for reparations. Umar has historically not been for reparations. He's grifting now. He's pivoting his original stance because historically he's not been for reparations. But if you're going to have a conversation and you're going to talk about foundational Black Americans, delineation, reparations, all of this stuff against Umar, and Umar's stance is very well known. You got to inform yourself. You got to do some homework. You got to do some research, or have somebody up there who knows better, because you're talking about your limited understanding. You're really not breaking anything down. And this is why Umar is able to be very disingenuous. Umar is being disingenuous. I don't see y'all going after Hispanics. I don't see y'all going after the white people. I don't see y'all going after nobody else. Umar is able to get away with being so disingenuous because you don't know when and where to check him. You don't know what receipts to pull up or examples to bring up. So if you are going to have that, and he's given Umar a little pushback, which is you can kind of tell he understands foundational Black Americans, and he understands. I don't know if he is or not a foundational Black American, but he understands it to a degree. But understanding something and being able to have a conversation, a dialogue, or a debate about it is two different things. You might be able to understand just enough to agree with the subject, but not enough to be able to have a conversation or a dialogue and a debate about it. So if you are going to have these dialogues and debates and all of that stuff, you're going to have to be informed on the history and informed on the material. Okay.
That the reparations belong to descendants of slaves.
Well, I'm going to say this as a Pan-Africanist, because we invented the reparations fight. It don't come from FBA. It don't come from ADOS. This was around before they were born. You feel me? Yes. Pan-Africanists gave birth to it. Reparations for me is not about different groups and sects of the race fighting for their crumb off the big pie. This should be one fight, one reparation. Do you feel me, Loon? We can split it up how we want to split it up after we get it.
That makes no sense whatsoever. Reparations extend far beyond slavery. It also has to include the civil rights movement, things like redline, right, disenfranchised Black Americans. Civil rights leaders were being beaten, murdered, right, with no accountability whatsoever. Like their murderers were being taken to court with an all-white jury and being let out the same day. These people had no accountability whatsoever. Horrors were not accounted for. Even things that are glossed over, like Black Americans couldn't go to certain schools, all white schools, that affected their upward mobility. Education at that time was the number one way out of poverty. So the system of disenfranchisement affected Black Americans disproportionately. So of course, that need to be accounted for. So I don't feel like that a Nigerian who don't have any ancestry in America, who never had a parent come here, grandparents weren't here, I don't feel like giving that Nigerian a check for what happened in slavery and the civil rights movement is fear whatsoever. Now, Umar Johnson will rattle off things like, yo, the British also was involved in slavery, so we need to check for the British as well. Cool, right? If Black Americans want to join other immigrant groups like Jamaicans and Haitians in the fight against the British, then cool. But the check that America provides has to go to Black Americans. Now, how you figure out who deserves it in terms of lineage, y'all figure that out, right? But damn sure shouldn't go to somebody in the Congo who ain't never touched foot on American soil. Why would they be getting a check?
But
No sound? Hold on, there's no sound. My fault. Is there sound now? What's wrong? Did I freeze? What the hell? Okay. Did I just freeze again? What happened? Okay, we're back. My fault, y'all. There's a button. There's a mute button on here, and then I accidentally pressed the mute button. So that's what happened. It's my fault. I pressed the mute button. But that's one thing I will say. We're back though. We're back. That's the one thing I will say. I do agree with Flock on that part. See, he doesn't want to come off as a complete tether, so he wants to disagree with Umar a little bit. That's the reason. No, imagine that. Let's say you give reparations to everybody who's Black. First off, you're going to have a whole bunch of people. A year ago, you had people talking about gingers were Black. You're going to have a whole bunch of Irish people coming up talking about they Black. You're going to have a whole bunch of Hispanic people coming up talking. Everybody from really the Western Hemisphere is going to now be Black. Everybody's going to be Black then. And then let's say you get what? It would have to be what? Let's say you get $100 trillion in reparations. How are you going to divvy that up? First off, why would America alone pay that? But let's say all of the Western countries, let's say America, Europe, the UK, all of them. Let's say all of them come together and they sign something that pays $100 trillion to every Black person in the world. How are we going to divvy that up? Huh? Who's going to do that? Who's going to do that? Who's going to be responsible for divvying up reparations for everybody? How is that going to work? Do you understand how much? First off, it's never going to work because that's race-based, which race-based reparations won't work at all. And Umar, he knows better. He knows that. Umar doesn't really want reparations like that. That's why he's making it a race-based thing because it won't work. That will never work. But even if there wasn't no race-based constitution that forbidded that, how would you do that? That's unfeasible. That would be completely unfeasible. And he knows that because Umar's not for reparations for real, for real. He's saying he is now because the whole reparations agenda and movement is gotten too far and he can't control it no more. And he's falling out of obscurity. He's falling out of relevance. So now he has to seem like, oh yeah, Pan-Africanism, we invented the reparations movement. That's what he's trying to do. But he's not really for reparations. He's not. And we know that. Some other things we got to talk about, y'all. Well, when it comes to them trying to blame foundational Black Americans and shift accountability and things like that, right? I want us to look at this. Hold on. Now, we already know about the dirty Black Haitian, the dirty Black American woman, the filthy Haitian who called us a bunch of dirty Black Americans, okay? If y'all don't, we're going to do a little recap, a slight recap on that, just so y'all can understand what we talking about here. Where is it? It's right here. Okay, here we go. All right, do it. Come on, play.
Haitian. Why? Where you from? What's your background? You American? I'm Haitian. Why? Where you from? What's your background? You American? Dirty black American?
Wait, what?
Huh? Huh? What?
Wait, what you say?
American? Black American? What?
No. Hold on. You said dirty black American.
You heard that? You just asked me what I said. I did.
Why you said that?
Because that's what y'all are. Dirty black American.
She just said that?
I did. A dirty black American. I sure did. Because that's what y'all are.
So all Americans are dirty black Americans.
I mean, the ones I've come across.
Huh? So what is Haitians then? I'm confused.
Dirty black Haitians.
Okay, so keep that energy for everybody. Don't just keep it for us. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
You're American.
yeah, hell yeah. Don't ever say no dirty black American shit. Like, what?
You from the
Like,
South?
my family, like, yeah.
No, okay. Come up that nasty, dirty, that filthy tether, dirty black American, right? Okay, before we continue, can y'all please do me the favor and the honors of hitting that like button? Now, you've had people come out, and this is what we're talking about. And I could drag them, but I'm gonna get to the actual subject because I really want to get to this part, right? Why is this doing that? Y'all need to hit that like button. That's why the computer's lagging. The computer's lagging because there's not enough likes. We got to get the likes up. Okay, that helps the computer run faster. My computer runs off of likes and shares and comments. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing, though. But if you hit the like button, the computer will run faster. Okay, so yeah, that's what that is. You got to hit the like button so the computer can run. I don't know why my computer. I got to update it. I don't know why it does that, but it runs off of likes for some reason. I don't know, but okay. Look at this.
Okay,
now
I'm gonna say something, and I'll
all
hear
right.
me out. If you're white, keep scrolling. Thank you. Okay, I'm sure y'all seen that Haitian woman talking about how, like, basically just discrediting Americans, and like basically. Okay, I'm gonna say something, and I want y'all to hear me out. If you're white, keep scrolling. Thank you. Okay, I'm sure y'all seen that Haitian woman talking about how, like, basically just discrediting Americans and talking shit, right? But listen, I'm not apologizing for her. I'm not being devil's advocate, but I need y'all to hear me out. This is coming from a first-generation Jamaican. I'm not even Haitian. I was born here, raised here, all of that, okay? I might as well be American. But y'all wasn't here when they used to just make fun of everybody that was Haitian and African everywhere, like in school, and maybe it's like a New York thing, but like y'all know how it was for them back then. And this is coming from someone that's not Haitian. It was real bad for them. They was calling them dirty, saying they eat dirt cookies and all that. That's what y'all saying under her comments right now, actually. And I feel like there's a big problem with division amongst black people. I feel like American black people have every right to be upset because they literally paved the way for us to be here today. Like, nobody was going to be here today without us, except for the Native Americans, right? So it's just like everybody else.
Before we continue, I want you to understand she's not even Haitian. She's Jamaican. And her first response is to defend Haitians because she's an immigrant. And this is what we're talking about when it comes to their immigrant loyalty. She didn't even acknowledge she didn't even fully condemn what she said. The first thing she said is, well, y'all got to understand how bad the Haitians had it. The first thing you said in response to what she did, because you can't prove that any of those brothers up there had bullied her or were mean to her or anything. She came off there. Nobody was even, they just asked her a simple question. Where are you from? Probably because they heard her accent. Where are you from? And then she called the dirty black Americans, and you saw the stank, nasty attitude she had with it. And your first response is, well, the Haitians had it so bad, and everybody used to call them dirty, and everybody used to bully them, and everybody used to do this and do this and do this. Because you're offended because the collateral damage is hitting you as an immigrant, and you want to defend the immigrants in general. This is that immigrant loyalty that we're talking about. And we gonna get into and that's the whole thing that they do. The whole, y'all used to really beat Haitians up. All of a sudden, first off, we went from bullying and picking on Haitians, then name calling Haitians. Now they're going extreme, over the board, over the top. Now they're saying we used to physically beat Haitians up. We used to just have a day, random day, and we used to just bam, Beat a Haitian up day. That wasn't foundational Black Americans. We didn't do that. That's not in our culture. That's not in our culture to do that. Okay. We don't have the disdain and the diaspora war among the Caribbean. Those were other Caribbeans who were doing that, because I'm gonna be honest, and I got this firsthand information from a Caribbean sister who told me this, and this is something that makes sense. Caribbeans have this thing against Haiti, not Americans, not Black Americans. We don't grow up having this culture speaking down on Haitians. All the other Caribbeans do. They feel like Haitians are like the weak link of the Caribbean. That's how they treat them. That's how Jamaica treats them. That's how Trinidad, that's how Barbados, that's how Ghana treats them. That's how they treat them. They treat them like the weak link of the Caribbean. I've seen videos of Haitians talking about how badly Haitians are treated among the Caribbean. That's the truth that they don't want to talk about. While you sit up there talking about Jamaicans and how we treated them, you need to be talking about how Jamaicans treated Haitians. Because that's the real problem. How Jamaicans been treating Haitians. Y'all been having this internal civil war among the Caribbeans. This beef among the Caribbean islands. That's what y'all been having. And you're projecting that onto us. That's a projection. We don't got there's no rivalry we have with Haitians. Y'all get that because y'all feel like Haitians hold the Caribbeans back. That's why in CARICOM and in other resource programs, y'all will ban Haitians. We don't have that thing. We don't have that. We're fighting for every Black country and every immigrant and everybody except Haitians. No, we're not fighting for Haitians. Nigerians can come over. Ghanaians can come over. Trinidadians, Jamaicans, all of them. We love you. We will embrace you. We will not embrace Haitians. We hate them. Stay away. We have never done that. It was Black Americans who was calling out calling out celebrities and other politicians for not helping when Haiti had that earthquake rather. We were the ones doing that. That was not the Caribbean doing that at all. Okay? When the Caribbean, this is how you know the Caribbean beef is so real. When the Caribbeans go through like natural disasters, hurricanes, earthquakes, all of this, natural storms and things like that, they tell them you deserved it. Last year, when the Haitians had that massive hurricane and there was a lot of flooding and all of that stuff, you had Haitians beefing with Jamaicans, and Haitians was all like, damn, when we go through a hurricane, y'all say we deserve it. And it was a whole bunch of, I've seen it, it was a whole bunch of back and forth between Haitians and Jamaicans, because when Haitians go through something, you got a whole bunch of Jamaicans saying that's because you're cursed. That's because y'all do all that voodoo and hoodoo and all of that devil worship stuff. That's what they do, and that's how they treat Haitians. And in response, Haitians get on their bumper. Don't project y'all Caribbean bull crap on us. Don't project that on us. We ain't got nothing to do with that. Every time we try to hold y'all accountable, y'all say, hey, let's put our differences aside and team up together as immigrants. That's what they do. But besides that, Jamaicans and Haitians don't get it. We know that. Y'all don't get along back in the islands. Y'all don't get along. Come on, we already know that. The only time y'all want to put your differences aside is to ally yourself against us, and we're not doing that. No. But let's continue.
Should have a certain level of respect for them, but then when it comes to like the Caribbean people, they was never really welcome here to begin with, really. And I feel like y'all letting one person be the spokesperson.
When it comes to the Caribbean people, they was never really welcome here to begin with. Really, y'all ungrateful asses. Y'all wouldn't be here if it wasn't for us. What y'all want us to do? Pamper y'all? Y'all want us to put you on a pedestal? Y'all want us to treat you like you were holier than thou? What do you want? You would be in Jamaica if it wasn't for foundational Black Americans. All of y'all would be exactly where your homelands are if it wasn't for us. Talk about y'all wasn't really welcome here. When y'all the ones who got the beef with other islands. We don't got no beef with Haitians. We don't got no beef with any Caribbean islands. Y'all got internal beef that you project on us because y'all cosplay. That's the reason. Talk about they weren't really welcome here.
Person for all Haitian people is so wrong. Like, she's not every Haitian person.
Now look,
Haitian,
she's
y'all
not every
one
Haitian
person
woman. She's not every Haitian woman, but Haitians ain't calling her out. And she ain't the first time. She's not the first time. She's not the first Haitian woman specifically that's gone viral. Most of the time when you hear foundational Black Americans don't get culture, it is either coming from an Haitian like Kai Cenat or whoever, or it's coming from a Nigerian. Y'all second place. Y'all be the main two people saying that. Okay? So don't know, man. Oh, she doesn't represent all of Haiti, ma'am. Notice this whole thing, she has not condemned her and said she was wrong and she needs to show more respect. She needs to be more ladylike and show more decorum and show more respect. And there needs to be more respect among Black Americans. All of this, you sit up there acting like what she did was justified.
Be the spokesperson for all Haitian people is so wrong. Like, she's not every Haitian person. Haitians were the first country to gain independence, the first Black country. They really earned their stripes. Like, I feel like we should have a mutual respect for each other, because the Haitians really, y'all need to go look up the Haitian Revolution. They some badass motherfuckers. Like,
don't tell us what we need to do.
They was ready to die about shit, kill anybody they had to. Go look up on that shit. And then
if they was like that now, we wouldn't be having this problem.
Black Americans literally built America. So it's like, I feel like we need to just come together and stop with this fight and shit. Like, that's what white people love to see, us divided. That's why we will never be on top as long as we're divided like this. Because it's the Black Americans, it's the Africans, it's us. It's like everybody against everybody. And I didn't even know there was some division amongst the African countries too. So it's like we're really divided as fuck, and like everyone's just entertaining and going in on the Haitians, and then the Haitians going in on the Americans. Like, yo, we will never ever be.
Notice this. Now, she's saying there's division there, but notice she's putting the blame and she's putting the victim, she's putting the Haitians. Now, we saw the woman be disrespectful. She's not called the woman out yet. She's calling for unity, but not calling them out. This is why when we hear the argument of unity, you receive a cold shoulder to that. Okay? This is why your request for unity keeps getting denied. Because y'all don't want to call nobody out, but y'all want to call for unity. You're putting the Haitian woman who came up there and disrespected those brothers and all of the lineage, you're putting them in the victim position. Because we're calling them out for that behavior that exists among you all. It don't just exist among her. It exists among all of you all. And now you're saying, hey, well, you started off by saying, well, Haitians were treated bad in high school, rationalizing what she did, justifying what she did, excusing what she did. Now you want to call for unity. Now, if it was us, if a foundational Black American went on to a Haitian podcast and it was a whole bunch of Haitian brothers and they said, hey, where you from? Oh, I'm FBA. What are you? Are you a dirty, filthy Haitian? Are you a dirty Haitian? And then he was like, what? Why would you say that? That's because that's what you guys are. You a dirty Haitian. You a dirty Haitian. Imagine if we did that. If we did that, y'all would be talking about, oh my God, everybody hates Haiti. Everybody needs to respect Haiti. Y'all wouldn't be sitting up there putting that woman in the victim position. You wouldn't, and y'all know y'all wouldn't. The second we say something that slightly y'all feel offensive or disrespectful to y'all don't ever call for unity. All that unity stuff is over with. Y'all don't do that. There's no excuses being made. There's no passes being given. There's no mercy being handed out. There's none of that. Y'all would immediately call her out, and then y'all would want us to call her out. Now, when it's a Haitian woman who says that about Black Americans, then it's, well, guys, let's all, the white people, they want us divided. They want us ununified. They want us separated. And we got to move past this petty arguing and this diaspora war. We got to come together. No. All of this one-sided alliance is over with. Now, she's not the only one. Not the only one. Want to get to a couple more. Hold on. Hold on. Oh man. Come on. It's just up here.
I have to even engage with the diaspora war discourse. I hate that I have to even engage with the diaspora war discourse because a lot of the time it's simply misplaced anger. But as a second generation Haitian American who is obtaining her degree in Black history in May, I feel like I should say something about the Haitian American lady on the podcast. So first off, one of the biggest points of contention that I saw within the comments, within videos, was that Haitians didn't condemn this lady's actions. Not to say that I speak for the community, but I can speak for the Haitian Americans that I know and the Haitian Americans that I interact with. That is not our sentiment, nor is it our belief system that Black Americans are dirty or that we are different from Black Americans. I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't know who that lady was until yesterday. And truth be told, a lot of Haitian Americans are not really tapped into that side of TikTok. Like, a lot of Haitian Americans right now are centralizing their focus on TPS issues and issues specific to the immigration things that are happening. So it only makes sense that there's kind of a divide.
Really? Really, huh? Really? Man, I swear, they don't see nothing, do they? They have very selective hearing. They have very selective vision. They don't see nothing. Oh, we don't see it. We focused on other things. Okay. All right. Okay. Just one question. Can I ask one question? Y'all know I love my questions. Can I just ask one question? Y'all didn't see what she said, but you saw what we said. Y'all didn't see the offense, but you saw the response. Y'all need to get y'all vision checked out. I don't understand how that works. Y'all didn't see what went viral and why we're mad, but you're seeing our response and you're responding to our response and not the original video because you didn't see the original video. Let you tell it. You didn't see the original video, but you just saw our response. And now our response is what needs to be addressed, not the original video. Okay. All right. Sure. Y'all were just too busy. You're not on that side of TikTok. Okay.
In who is seeing that media and who's being pushed that content. Not to say that that's an excuse, but I do think that plays a part into why you're not seeing a lot of Haitians talk about it. Now, to speak on the generalizations on both ends, it is extremely unhelpful.
Now, to speak on the generalizations on both ends, notice that the only time they condemn her actions is when you're trying to make it a 50-50 blame. She's trying to shift the blame 50-50. Oh, well, to speak on both ends. No, what do you mean some both ends? How are you going to police the response and the offense in the same breath? How are you going to do that? How are you going to sit up there and address both the response to the disrespect and the original disrespect and vitriol in the same breath at the same time? Ain't no both ends. To speak on the generalizations of both ends, this is exactly what we're talking about. Because you weren't going to say anything until you felt offended by the backlash as a Haitian, like the other woman as a Jamaican. Y'all weren't going to say anything. Not that y'all didn't see it. Y'all weren't going to say anything. Then when we sitting up there pushing y'all, when y'all punishing rather, when we sitting up there calling y'all out and y'all felt offended by the backlash, now y'all want to be like, well, there's wrong on both sides and both sides need to stop. Now, like I said, if it was the other way around and if it was the FBA sister up there on a Haitian podcast and for no reason at all, she was all like, dirty Haitian. Y'all dirty Haitians. That's what you are. You're a dirty Haitian. That's my experience. I'm going to speak on it. Y'all wouldn't be both sides in nothing. Y'all wouldn't be both sides in a damn thing. Y'all would be calling us out 100%. Now, because it's y'all want to, well, there's blame on both sides and everybody just needs to hug and get along.
And we are literally allowing the colonial powers to win. Why would they want Black Americans aligning themselves with the first free group of Black people? America has been trying to destabilize Haiti's power, right? Economically, politically, socially, they have been trying to tear us down because of the fact that we gained our freedom. They have also been trying to tear down Black Americans because
I'm gonna tell you, It's like a script. It's like a script that these people, all of these people regurgitate the same way. Well, okay, well, it's wrong on both sides, but we got to understand this is what white people wanted. She didn't go up there and do anything white people wanted her to do. She did what she wanted to do. And this is how they always start. I don't agree with what she said. Notice they don't really have no anger towards it. They're not condemning it to hell. They're not sitting up there being all like, that was wrong. You were bogus. She's bogus. She's a loser. They're not doing that. They're passively kind of just shrugging it off like, I don't agree with what she said. We don't agree with what she said. That's not even condemning what she said, to be honest. That's not even condemning that. Saying, I don't agree with what she said, but we all got to stick together because this is what white people want. They want us to be fighting, and they want us to be doing this, and they want us to be doing that, and this, and this, and this. I'm telling you, it's a script they all have. They don't say anything because they don't even want to say this until they realize that, damn, immigrants are kind of getting drugged through the mud right now. They kind of getting drugged through the mud. So let me get out there and let me give this disingenuous fake peace talk.
They also fought for their rights and their freedom. If we were to both come together in this nation, they know for a fact that we would be unstoppable. So of course, videos like that are going to be pushed through the algorithm, especially during Black History Month. You guys don't realize, like, it happens every year. A couple years back, it was Black Americans saying Haitians eating cats and dogs. They heard Trump say it and then they ran with it, right? And it created this rift within the Black community.
Do y'all see that? Hold on. A couple years ago, we were saying that. No, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Now she's trying to make it seem like we started it. See the thing? Where they try to give this fake unity thing, but then they shift the blame and make it seem like we started it with the whole, here Trump said the whole thing about cats and dogs, and Black Americans ran with it. Black Americans were the one who ran with it, and that created a diaspora rift. Really? Okay.
To where we felt like we were two completely separate groups. If we were to come together and understand that we are all in the same, they look at us all the same, things would be completely different. And then I'm seeing a lot of Black Americans pushing the right-wing talking point that Haitians...
Notice, I want y'all to notice this, and I'm letting it go on. Notice she's having more energy at the response. Now, before, she excused the fact that Haitians aren't pushing back. She excused that by saying, well, Haitians are too busy and we didn't see it. Haitians are too busy and we didn't see it, but we saw it. And her energy isn't on the fact that that Haitian woman represented disdain towards another group of people, and she's not being properly condemned. She's not being properly called out. We're being called out. Our response is being called out. Notice she's mentioned us more frequently with more issues. She has more issues with us. You think that cats and dogs, Haitians eating cats and dogs, that stuff, she remembers that. She remembers that. Why is she even bringing that up in this situation? Because she remembers that.
Need to go back home. What you guys are failing to understand, because America, and it's truly not your fault.
And then hold on. Let me. The whole that's a right-wing talking point. No. Y'all need to go home. If y'all don't know how to respect nobody, if y'all don't know how to respect the natives of the land, and y'all gonna come over here being disrespectful tethers, then y'all need to go back home. They're saying that's a white ring talking point. That's a right ring talking point. That's a racist talking point. How dare you tell me I need to go home for disrespecting you?
70s, trying to get immigrants into America. correction, this has been happening since the 50s, because the first example that came to my mind is the mayor of San Juan, Felisa Rincon de Guatier, if I'm saying that correctly. But she wanted to show the relationship between America and Puerto Rico, as well as to help them gain workers in the north. She sent snow from America to Puerto Rico so that citizens could experience snow and be incentivized to go to the U.S. And telling Haitians to go back home as if we haven't been in America is not a fair argument. We have been in America since the Louisiana Purchase. When we won our independence in 1804, America saw how powerful our army was and the fact that we beat one of the biggest European military powers, and they asked us to help them gain Louisiana.
No, that's not what happened. That's not, no, that's not, no. And I got a lot of respect for I got the DVD of 1804. I got a lot of respect for the 1804 revolution. I really, really do. And I always will. Because that's just some that's badass. I love it. But we're not going to embellish. Y'all taking this one hit wonder and y'all dragging this to infinity and beyond. Like y'all Buzz Lightyear. Y'all sitting up there dragging this. Now America asks Haitians to help them with the Louisiana Purchase. That is not what happened at all. See, this is what I don't respect. Y'all will take something honorable and y'all will construe it and y'all will bastardize it and remix it in something. Now people feeling a certain type of way about something 1804. Now people be all, when y'all bring up 1804, people get to roll in their eyes instead of feeling a sense of honor coming from that revolution. Instead of when you saying 1804, people be all like, yeah, man, that was really respectful. 1804, that was really honorable. Shout out to them for that. Now when y'all bring up 1804, people get to roll in their eyes, be like, oh my God, here you go with that again. Because we already know what y'all gonna do. Y'all gonna make it seem like 1804 was the reason slavery around the world ended. Y'all sitting up there making it seem like 1804 had the Avengers and y'all was just going to different countries and burning down plant. That's not what happened. Okay, y'all had the ball, and I'm gonna be very honest with you. As much as this is gonna hurt, and it is, y'all had the ball and fumbled it. Y'all had it. Y'all won the battle and lost the war. Y'all won the war and lost the peace. Look at Haiti now talking about some 1804. Y'all don't get to brag on that no more. That's like the Chicago Bears bragging about the Super Bowl they won in the 80s. It's 2026. Y'all don't get to brag about the Super Bowl y'all won 40 years ago. Y'all don't get to brag about that. Y'all don't get to brag about that. And now you sitting up there trying to make it mean like we the first people to do that. No, see the lying. Like I said before earlier in the live stream, liars are never problem solvers. You cannot trust a liar to solve any problems. Liars are by definition very destructive and very self-centered.
Incentivized to go to the U.S. And telling Haitians to go back home as if we haven't been in America is not a fair argument. We have been in America since the Louisiana Purchase. When we won our independence in 1804, America saw how powerful our army was and the fact that we beat one of the biggest European military powers, and they asked us to help them gain Louisiana. All this to say, the diaspora wars are tired, misplaced anger, and we should be centralizing our focus on colonial powers as opposed to our own community. In saying that we are different people and we are different experiences, we are still, like, no white people think like this.
All white people think like that. All of them do. Every single last one of them do. And this is another talking point. I wanted to get to this part because we're going to get to the whole other thing. First off, it doesn't matter if white people think like that. They don't have our history. They don't. And every single last one of them do. Every single last Asian does. Asian, Japanese, and Chinese people do not say we the same people. They don't. Koreans, Vietnamese, Taiwanese, they don't. Hispanics, you call them Mexican and Puerto Rican and say there's no difference, they will almost want to fight you. So y'all sitting up there making it seem like if y'all say it's a difference, white people don't yes, they all do. All of them do, and they always have. Ever since the creation of the construct of white, they always have had division. Ever since then. They've always had that. So don't know. White people get along perfectly. Really? Are you sure? I'm telling you, all of this blaming, they send up there shifting the blame. Oh, they getting real disingenuous. I'm gonna play a little bit of this, y'all. I'm gonna play a little bit of this. Y'all gonna laugh. This is crazy. Y'all gonna laugh about this one. Oh, where is it? Where's it go? Okay. Y'all gonna laugh. Hold on.
Like the shit they be politicking, like the prison politics play a role in middle school. Motherfuckers be having blacks versus Mexicans in middle school because of what's going on in the streets.
This is grown people jumping on kids.
Oh,
I
grown
was
people jumping on
5
kids.
years
Okay.
old, bro. These are grown motherfuckers in their 20s. When
Oh,
that
yeah,
shit
that's-
happened to me.
no, that's
when I got
weird,
my car
dude.
broke,
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I never heard of no grown ass black people doing nothing to kids. Like,
Where you from?
if you been locked up, I'm from DC, bro. And if you know, if you been out the feds, bro, you know we don't play when it come to.
Look, you talking about, I'm telling you, they're lying so bad. They're lying so badly. They're out here talking about there were grown 20-year-old adults beating up kids. He was 5 years old. Let's assume hopefully the kids was older. There was grown adults beating up 10-year-old Haitians just because they were Haitian. This is how bad they're lying to dodge accountability and to shift the blame and make it seem like you've never seen us do that. You've never seen, first off, I don't know about, I can speak for my culture. I can't speak for anybody else's culture, and the brother gonna check him. We don't do that with kids. We don't sit up there beating up as an adult other people's kids. When we get upset with kids, we say, hey, go get your parents. And let me talk to your mama real quick. Let me talk to your father. That's how we do. All of this, you know what? If a kid, I've seen my parents, if a kid gets too wild or disrespectful or whatever the case is, they will tell their kids to get their parents because they're not going to sit up there and even argue with a child, let alone beat them up. Beat them up. Now I'm not talking about hit them or slap their hand and or pinch them a little bit. I'm talking he's saying they used to beat kids up as grown adults, just getting out the car. They driving the car, the kids on the bike, they push them off the bike and beat them up. That's what he's talking about. Our parents wouldn't even yell at kids. They would say, hey, I need to talk to your father. I don't know what you're doing. That's how we would handle it culturally. Back in the day, you wouldn't even want you wouldn't do that to kids. Yo, are you, oh Lord, this is how far they're stretching it. This is beyond the realm of possibility. This is beyond the realm of believability. You can't even believe this. And this is how bad this man is lying to dodge accountability for what she said. Where were their parents? If our parents were going around, because let's say he was 5, that means if they were adults, they'd be our parents. They'd probably be, I don't know how old he is. They damn near would be our grandparents. Let's say that. If our grandparents as adults, as grown adults, legal adults, were going around beating up second graders, what did their parents do? What did their parents do? Why did their parents let that happen then? There was no police reports. There was no cameras. There was no fighting. You would think, if I'm going to be honest, if a grown adult beat up my 5-year-old kid, it's going to be more than just a talk. If I had kids and they just 5 years old and some adults just came beat them up, start kicking them and punching them, it's going to be a problem. So what did your parents do? They didn't do anything because it didn't happen. That's why. It didn't happen.
Crimes against kids. You know that.
But that's what I'm saying. You been to the feds?
I got people out the feds. I ain't no criminal. Right. I ain't never been locked up.
The reason why
I know what's going on though. Trust me.
No, it ain't got nothing to do with prison. If you was in the feds, you was gonna bump heads with Haitians in there to where you was gonna be able to have dialogue with them and they were gonna be able to tell you what's going on in Miami. You see what I'm saying? Just like when I went to California, I was locked up out there where he from, right? In California. When I used to tell them cats, because they used to always be like, bro, why you standoffish? We trying to break, you know what I'm saying, do the spread with you. I was like, man, and it's cats that I actually fuck with. But I can't really sit down and break bread with people, goddamn it, that I don't know if I can fully trust you. You see what I'm saying? So I get to tell them, I let them know, you know what I'm saying, man, hey, this is how I was where I'm from. And I got locked up when I was 12. I had life without the possibility of release. So this is like trauma on me. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't even, they was telling me the same thing, bro. I ain't never heard that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, sad to say, but if you ever look up Haitians, even when they did their gangland and they did the gangland, it was centered around my homeboy Macazo. When they talk about the gangland, they talk about that on gangland. You listen to some of the rappers, Chopper Zoe, he got a whole song, this one for my Haitians, right? And he talk about how back in the days, you know what I'm saying, we were getting jumped on, how they said we was eating cats and all that shit, you know what I'm saying, getting jumped on in school with the Haitian pride. That's a whole song talking about. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I ain't going against none that, you know.
No, I know you're not, bro.
You see what I'm saying? But I'm just saying from my standpoint, just from me being up north and me knowing people, because I got people down south too, so I never heard of us ever doing no shit like that. It's just my people. So I ain't, you know what I'm saying, just knowing my people.
Now, just to keep in mind, to keep this in perspective, sorry. Chapazo is Haitian. Chapazo is Haitian. There's no proof, there's no documentation, there's no nothing. You don't see kids doing this today. If this was this bad, where it was just an epidemic. Now, kids still get bullied today, unfortunately. And I don't condone any bullying of anybody towards anybody. I don't. By anybody towards anybody. I don't condone any type of bullying whatsoever. But bullying still continues today. So you mean to tell me there was just generations of Haitians for no reason, children being whooped on, not in school, mind you. They used to say Haitians were bullied in school. Now you're saying that this is beyond school. You're saying it was grown adults beating Haitian kids up. That's not even in school. So Haitians were just getting terrorized by foundational Black Americans every single day by everybody, and it just stopped. Where did it go? Why did it stop? Where is it now? Where is it now? Were y'all made fun of? I believe y'all were made fun of, just like everybody else was made fun of. Y'all are not no one-off. Y'all being picked on and made fun of, it was not exclusive to Haitians or immigrants or anybody. Everybody in school, every demographic in school got made fun of. You're not special. You are not. Now you taking this and you're exaggerating. You're not even, you're just straight up lying at this point. You're just straight up lying at this point. We're gonna play a little bit more, but you're just straight up lying.
We pretty much are welcoming, you know what I'm saying? If you moving out,
How old are you?
I'm grown, trust me. I'm 35.
I'm just saying because
this was 80. This
was way old. Yeah.
I'm 35, so I've been around.
Hey, Scardo, you gotta take in mind too, though. You know that 80s, that was that crack era. That was probably one of the worst times. Broken families. It was so much dysfunction, especially that crack era impacted Miami, LA, DC.
Now they're sitting up there, and this is a thing that they're doing too. Now they're sitting up there bringing up the crack epidemic and the crack era and all of that, right? Crackheads weren't beating people up. Crackheads weren't. I'm gonna be honest, and it's crazy if I'm sitting up there defending crackheads. What is crackheads beating up Haitian kids gonna do? In Miami, a lot of y'all had your own little enclaves. So a lot of that was a lot of other immigrants. Those were a lot of other Jamaicans and other Caribbean immigrants from the West Islands, West Indies. Okay, that's where y'all were getting your beef and all of that's from. That's why he said, hey, that didn't make sense. In our culture, we don't do that. Oh, you're not from Miami. No, our culture extends to Miami too. What you mean is the area you were around didn't have our people there. Now he's trying to section it off. Oh, it only happened in Miami. Why did it only happen in Miami? Why didn't it happen everywhere Haitians were? because it happened among other Caribbeans. It didn't happen among FBA. It happened among other Caribbeans. Adults beating up kids. Please. We don't even beat white kids up. Listen to me. Listen. White people don't have stories of grown black people beating up white kids. There's not a single demographic that exists in this country that has a story of, I'm not talking about one crazy lunatic. I'm talking about culturally, of black adults beating them up when they were kids for no reason, just beating them up, just on sight, beating them up. Hispanics can't say that. Asians can't say that. Whites can't say that. Haitians, no other immigrants can say that. Nobody can say that because we don't do that. We've never done that. If what he's saying is true, which doesn't make sense, but if what he's saying is true, I don't believe. If it is, it wasn't done by us. We're not taking the fall. We're not taking that. We're not taking the fall for that. Were y'all made fun of? I believe y'all were, just like everybody else. And we're not going to sit up there and make it seem like Haitians were just the victims. And this is something when it comes to bullying too, that they make it seem as if they weren't saying anything else. They've been calling us a cotta. They don't want to bring that up. They've been calling us Yankees and Jareers and all of these derogatory slurs. They've been saying that stuff about us. They've been saying that we don't have no culture. They've been saying that we don't know where we're really from. They've been saying that, oh, y'all used to be slaves and calling us slaves and all of that stuff. They've been saying this type of stuff about us. So don't make it seem as if the bullying was just one way and we were just picking on them and bullying them and beating them up for no reason and they weren't doing anything but blocking and holding it. No, we're not even going to tell that lie. If kids were bullying kids, everybody was bullying everybody. So as adults, we need to move past that. And what we're talking about right now is adult behavior. That Haitian woman, that dirty Haitian woman has no justification, no excuse. She's an adult speaking to other adults. She doesn't have in second grade, I was bullied and somebody pulled my hair and no, I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that. But this video goes on for a minute, y'all. This video goes on for a very long time. I want you to just understand how they're trying to shift the blame to avoid accountability. We're going to play maybe 5 more minutes of this because I can only take so much.
New York the most, Philly and shit like that. So it was a different time during that time. But yeah, me personally, I ain't never heard no grown man 25 plus beating up no 5-year-old. But if that's true, them niggas some hoe ass niggas. Like,
that's some soft shit though, because I don't condone no shit like that.
Hold on, Scott. 1 minute. I think Judah, you from Miami? Cause she just hit me up, know the street and everything where I growed up at. And don't nobody just come up in here saying my street where I growed up at and stuff. So she gotta be from Miami.
You want me to bring her up?
If she from Miami, she could tell you everything that I said is true, bro.
Any black Americans in here from Miami?
Huh?
I said, is there any black Americans in here from Miami? Because I like to hear, all sides of the story, man. Because
I don't know if the thing is they got to come in here. If they not coming in here, then it's
Can I say something? I'm a Haitian that grew up in Broward County. And
what's up, fam?
What's good?
What's
Hold on 1 minute. She was just talking right quick.
Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Yeah, I was saying, like, I grew up around his and I grew up in Broward County, and that was the same thing that was happening. And we had another group that started called the Island Boys, just so we could fight the Black American, because they were jumping us every Friday.
But
no, we weren't. At first, I used to believe, like, when they did the whole African booty scratcher thing, and they kept being like, y'all called us an African booty scratcher. Y'all called us an African booty scratcher. And we were saying, hey, kids bully kids, and that's not right, and that's wrong, and we condemn that. And then they kept saying it over and over and over again. And I was all like, your stories aren't really adding up like that. That doesn't really... There was one woman on a live we had. She was all like, as a nurse, she saw a Black American nurse call Nigerian nurse a booty scratcher. I'm all like, what? No, I'm saying, what? A grown, do you know how much it takes to be a nurse? How hard it takes? That's a grown woman. Calling another grown woman a booty scratcher? I said, you know what? I'm gonna start. Can we get some cap emojis in the chat room? I said, you know what? I'm calling cap on that. I'm only, you know what? At first, a few of y'all, I could have believed a couple of incidents, but now you guys are seeing that this is an excuse, and this is what they do. They see it's an excuse that they can use to justify their behavior that you can't really fact check, because you can't fact check if they were bullied or beat up as kids. Anybody can say, I was beat up as a kid. It's difficult to fact check that. You can't go back in time and look through a window and see, okay, yeah, you were, or yeah, you weren't. Okay. So a lot of them are telling stories that they can't substantiate, but they know, oh, well, if you can't fact check it, you're just going to have to take my word for it. You can't deny my experience. You got to take my word for it. So I was beat up. I was called booty scratchers and all of this stuff. And I'm like, okay. I just noticed a pattern. It was like from every age demographic, whether you grew up in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, all of them were called an African booty scratcher. I'm like, okay. Everywhere, LA, New York, Chicago, Texas, Houston, Miami, Atlanta. I'm all like, no, that's not really making that much sense. Then they saying it happened recently. I was called an African booty scratcher yesterday. I'm all like, you know what? Hold on. At first, I might have believed a couple incidents, but y'all went too overboard. Now I'm questioning everything. I'm questioning the whole thing. That's not making no sense. And then we started calling cap on it. We started saying that, really? You were called an African booty? That's like when white people was all like, growing up in school, they called me a cracker. When did that happen? Oh, that happened last week. Gen Z called you a cracker? Gen Z don't call people crackers. That's not been no thing. You making that up. They called me a cracker, a saltless cracker. No, that didn't happen. You're making that up. Okay. So when the story starts to get unrealistic, when they exaggerate it, I'm like, no, I'm calling cap on that. Nah, that don't really make no sense. Now he's out here saying, now a whole bunch of them, the narrative used to be, we used to pick on them and call them out and call them names. Now, grown ass men used to beat kids up every Friday. Really? Grown ass men used to be, you could go to jail for a seriously long time. And you know what would happen if you went to jail for, in our culture, we already know what happens. If an adult, especially a male, goes to jail for abusing children. I'm not even talking about sexual abuse. I'm talking about you go to jail and the inmates find out you in jail for abusing children, you know it's over with. That's something we already know. That's something we will check. We ain't sitting up there beating no kids up. What are you talking about? Oh, well, it was probably, we all like, that didn't make sense. Oh, well, you're not from Miami. Okay, well, there's somebody from Miami. He says that didn't happen. Oh, we're talking about in the 80s. Notice that they keep trying to section it off so we can't give our own testimony to it. They keep trying to section it off. Oh, you weren't at that. No, it didn't happen at that part. It happened on this street at this time. Okay, you were on that street at that. No, but you weren't on that street at 3 o'clock. That's when we got beat up. We got beat up every day at 3 o'clock. You got there at 4 o'clock. We were already beat up by then. So that's why you didn't see it. They keep moving the goalposts so we don't be able to testify and be all like, actually, I was there and that didn't happen. Notice he kept doing that. Oh, it happened Friday. No, okay, you were there Friday. No, it would happen Friday, but it was raining the day you came out, so you didn't happen when you came out that day. They keep moving the goalposts, and that's why I'm calling cap on it. I'm all like, why you doing the most? to make us try to believe this. I don't really buy that. Grown men were just pulling up. They were pulling up, smoking crack in their Cadillacs, and they would get out and beat us up, and then leave. Okay, all right. Grown black, and you know for a fact they're Black American. You know for a fact they're Black American. Okay. They were smoking crack and they got out in their Cadillacs and they probably beat you with a chicken wing. Okay. They beat you down with a chicken wing and poured grape Kool-Aid on your shirt. That's probably okay. All right. Every Friday. Okay. Okay, sure. What else? They didn't rob you, didn't kid you, no police report. If it happened every Friday, you would think that the police would know about it. You would think your parents, you go home, mom, dad, every Friday, this grown ass man is beating me up and shoving me to the ground and breaking my fingers and all that. You would think every Friday that being that predictable, it would stop. Let them tell it. It happened every Friday until I graduated college. Really? We would just jump y'all every Friday? Okay. Where did this happen? It happened on the street that nobody was there for. Oh, sure. Okay. And all of the Haitians were there. All of us who are around that area, none of us can contest to that. None of us is all like, hey, y'all, we do got to hold ourselves accountable. We did used to beat them up. All of us are scratching our heads. All we're like, we used to, huh? Yes, they called me a mud eater and they shoved mud in my mouth like it was a cookie. Really? Really? Okay. Oh, sure. Oh, and that's why you hate us now. Okay, sure. Okay. They're doing this much to shift the blame and put it on FBA because they don't want to take accountability for their behavior. They don't want to take accountability for their behavior. They have this allergy to honesty. And I'm going to be saying that. They are allergic to honesty. Okay? So because they can't be honest and accept the fact that just that woman, we're not even saying all Haitians need to beg on their hands and knees and grovel at the feet of foundational Black Americans. We're not even saying that. We're saying y'all need to call that one particular woman out. But because of their loyalty to immigrants, they don't do that. Because, and I want you to understand, this type of defense, you're seeing this defense across the board by the community. So when we say that woman doesn't represent Haitians, well, if all of the Haitians are defending her, what does that mean? If all of the Haitians that we're seeing, if we're seeing that woman say something, and then we're seeing 10 other people defend what she says and excuse and justify it and attack us for it, what does that mean? How does she not represent all of you all? What is the difference in behavior? For her not to represent you guys, there has to be a difference in behavior. What does that mean? How is it not a difference in behavior? All of you guys are justifying it and defending it. That means for a fact she does represent you guys. That's what that means. Let me get to the super chats. Shout out to, okay, I mispronounced. I hate mispronouncing names. I apologize for that. It's Bebe, Monroe, Louisiana. Okay, Monroe, Louisiana. I gotta get there next time. I didn't get too much traveling done in Louisiana. I was only there for a couple of days. I didn't get too much traveling done. But next time I'm gonna definitely do some more traveling in Louisiana. Love it. Seafood especially. Y'all was not playing on that seafood. Y'all was not playing. Y'all threw down. Y'all threw down on that seafood. Valerie, I appreciate your super sticker. Antithesis is out here supporting. Y'all Tether started it. Yeah, FBA gonna finish it. Period. Yeah. Y'all started it. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. Y'all started it. We gonna finish it. Don't worry about it. We gonna finish it. We gonna finish it. Y'all already scared about the boycott. Y'all already scared about the boycott. That y'all already scared. Y'all know what it is. Okay. Line is blessed. She sends a super sticker. Thank you very much. She says, FBA family, we are releasing these tethers. So the deeper you breathe, the more you're gonna the more you're gone. Yeah, that's true. We look all of the stress, and thank you for that, and the Cash App. I appreciate that too. Let me give a shout out to y'all. Let me give y'all the applause emoji. All of the what right there. Then let me get one. Oh, okay. Hold on. Don't come to Monroe. Okay. Don't come to Monroe, Louisiana. Okay. Nothing is here. Okay. I heard. I did hear that. Like New Orleans, everything is in New Orleans or whatever, and you know, nothing. There's not really nothing else there. You know. So okay. I got to get to Shreveport though. That is one place I got to get to. And there's like some plantations and stuff like that I got to get some footage of. So there's some exploring I got to do. Lafayette is cool. Okay. Lafayette. All right. All right. I'll keep it Baton Rouge. I definitely want to check out Baton Rouge. I want to see what that's like. But if you guys haven't been, New Orleans is fun. It was lovely. The music, the food, man. I keep saying the food. The food, that man, y'all with food, man, y'all don't be playing, man. Y'all really don't. Y'all really don't. Y'all don't be playing. Okay. I was talking to one of my brothers about that, and he was all like, well, a friend, he's like a brother, but he was like, he don't eat seafood, and he hated it so bad because he's allergic to seafood. So I was like, damn, I would hate to have a seafood allergy. I would hate to have a seafood allergy so bad, but you know, it's not for everybody, but it was for me. It was for me. Can y'all do me a favor though before y'all leave? Can y'all hit that like button? Can y'all hit that subscribe button? Can y'all hit that notification button? Because it's still the end of Black History Month, and we still got a few more days. We still got a couple more days. We still got to get stuff done. There's still more stuff to talk about. So we still gotta we still gotta do that. If y'all can hit that. She says, not Shreveport. I might be unalived. Oh damn. Okay, well, I'll just stick to New Orleans then. So okay, Shreveport like that? Okay. Okay. If it's like that, then I don't know. Shreveport solid. I'll do some research on Shreveport. How about that? I'll do some research. I'll do my own research on Shreveport. How about that? But it's some exploring I got to do this year. It's some sightseeing I definitely got to get done this year. But I'll keep you guys posted. Next time I go someplace, I'll just have like a list, and I'll be all like, hey, what are the great spots in New York? I told you guys I was in New York the other day, stuck in the airport, but I was in New York technically. So, you know, for the first time, stuck in the airport. I couldn't even leave the airport. My first time in New York, couldn't even leave the airport. It would be me, right? Okay. But yeah, okay. Shout out to that. Y'all know now y'all arguing about Shreveport. Y'all funny. But with that being said, family, Black first to every single last one of you. Salute to y'all. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for watching. All the people watching on the playback, all the people watching live, all the people sent the cash apps, the super chats, the gifts, all of that stuff. Okay. All of that. So appreciate y'all. Thank you guys sincerely. I want y'all to understand they're going to lie. I want us to understand now they're lying so much they're telling on themselves. Their lies are going so far we don't even believe them no more. And this is perfect because all of the people who are saying FBA is hateful and FBA was this and FBA is this, when you hear the opposition and the opposition are lying tethers, then it's all like, hey, actually, them FBAs might not be so bad because all you do is lie. Why am I supposed to believe what you say about them and all you do is lie? So all of this is working the way it's supposed to. All of it is. Now, family, I got to get out of here. We will conclude tonight's live stream. I appreciate you guys. Sincerely, I do. Thank you guys very much. I will see you guys tomorrow because it's Black History Month. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Appreciate that. Shout out to Deborah for the cash app or the super chat. The super chat. Okay. Thank you very much, Deborah. I appreciate you, beloved. Thank you. Family, y'all stay blessed.